You'll have a set.
Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a great day so far. My morning's been pretty well, or gone pretty well. Yeah, nothing really super exciting happened, but yeah, let's get started on programming. Okay, so actually, we might not do a lot of programming at the beginning of the stream because I think finally ready to start doing some art. I mean, we could maybe do this, but so I think, yeah, so far, yeah, we have these doodads that spawn and they're placed randomly on the map. And we're able to rotate them. But right now they don't, like, know about the actual surface of the terrain besides just, like, its, what's the word, like, generic position without any bump map or anything or margin sloping. So that's why this one's, like, inside the terrain. But yeah, I think it's pretty good for now. Let's maybe... Okay, well, we won't want to have a rotation around X anymore. We'll want it to just be around Y. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then also... this random position in hexagon is fine, but we'll actually want to have like a hexagon radius so that we don't go into the margin, maybe. But let's worry about that later. I actually want to get some models. So we'll just, well, I guess we still, okay, well, we can just leave it because we don't want to just set this to 0 because then if we spawn multiple on the same block, they'll be on top of each other. That is another thing we might have to worry about. Like if certain pebbles are too close to each other, we'd want to delete one so that they don't sit on top of each other. But anyway, let's go ahead and set up a new model. Okay, this first thing I'm going to do here is delete the light and the camera. Oh, you can't actually press the delete key. And okay, we can start with a cube. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and now that we have everything selected here, I want to set it so that the bottom of the cube is at 0. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's close enough. Okay, and it doesn't really, like, the scale doesn't matter a whole lot because we can change the scale in game. I mean, yeah, in Unity easily. It's just the main thing is you want to have the origin at the bottom middle. Okay, so I'm gonna make a boulder here. Maybe, oh, it doesn't really matter. I was gonna say maybe we should get the gradient first. I'll have to see how much detail I want in it. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll start... Okay, and then I want to turn on the see-through. Oh yeah, we're in perspective, so I want it to be orthographic. Okay. Or orthogonal, I think is the term. Okay, it's been a while, so I gotta accumulate myself to the keybinds. So actually what I want to do, I want to make it like longer, so I need to grab the whole thing and then scale it, but only on the x-axis because I want it to be kind of a rectangle. And then let's just add a bunch of loop cuts, which I think, yeah, it's Control R. I don't know how many I'll want. And then I'll scale these slightly in. So to select, isn't that like Alt click? Okay, I want to trying to remember how to select a ring. Okay, yeah, so let's Alt right click. Okay, it doesn't work here because I guess it's not sure if that this top is a ring or not. And we're in vertex mode. So yeah, we'll want the top to be kind of like that. Okay, that looks like a coffin. I think it's too regular, obviously. Let me see. What would be the best way to do this? I think actually my little modeling guide might have some tips. Let me see. Again, this is from Minions Art, has a bunch of really great modeling tutorials. Okay, so she has this layered art, layered rock. Okay, maybe that's my issue. Is that, yeah, I'm kind of... Okay, so she rounds out the top and flattens the bottom and extrude every other row. Okay, so that, maybe I should have done that to make... That's a better way to do these layers like that. Okay, well, that's one way to do it. Let's, yeah, try something like that. I think it's still a good idea to... And then do I want to like rotate it? Trying to decide if... Well, probably it shouldn't be completely straight. So let's rotate it on the y-axis just slightly. And then I'll need to flatten some of these vertices. Oh. Something like that. Okay, and I guess maybe I should add some more faces if I'm gonna go with boulder like that. Also, now that I did that, this area is gonna look a little weird. Maybe what we need is some inspiration. Okay, well the boulders I'm thinking of aren't quite as distinct as the ones that they showed. But I guess it just depends on what kind of look I'm going for. This is going to be just on dirt terrain. I think the main issue with mine is that it's too regular right now. They are kind of square shaped though. Okay. I'm used to doing characters. I haven't actually done this object like this. Okay, okay, I'm not liking the way this is going. I think I might start over. Alright, so I want to create Do I want to start from a cube or a circle? Okay. Yeah, that's on the ground. I guess I just need to decide what kind of boulder I want. Maybe something like this. It's pretty smooth. And yeah, it's just out in the middle of the dirt. It's not like a... I think if I did something more like in the tutorial, that is more like desert to me. Although I guess I don't want it to be super boring, so I might add a little bit of details like that. Yeah, but a lot of them seem to be kind of square shaped with rounded edges. Where's Blender? There we go. Okay, so I think one thing to start with is to rotate, but I think that I flattened the bottom too early, which made it a little hard to work with. And I want to rotate it only on the y-axis, which I forgot to do last time. So something like that. And I can worry about fixing this up so that the edges are flat later. But I think it might be worth it just to move this down like that. And I'll want to bring this edge down here as well. So maybe I should scale it. I guess I should have done that before rotating. So scale on the x-axis. And then do I want it longer this way too? Something like that. And again, the actual size here doesn't matter because I'll change it. We can change the scale in game easily. Okay, so go something like this, and then I need to bring these edges down. Okay, so that's a good start. Yeah, they kind of like where it meets the ground, it doesn't like blend into it directly, so let's bring these up slightly. So there's a little bit of a lip. I'll just need to play around with it. I'll just add some cuts. Okay, I'll do the other sides later. Maybe I should just start with this one. Okay, so I do want to have a little bit of detail here, I think. Okay, so I'm trying to remember, how do I select a ring of faces? Select boundary loop. Okay, I think this is it. Oh, it doesn't tell me the keybind. Maybe I just have to press Alt-R in face mode. Or Alt right click. Okay, that did select a loop of faces, but it didn't select the one I was expecting. Okay, I wanted to select a loop around this way, but I don't know if there's a way to get that to happen easily. Okay, and then extrude is E. And I'll scale it. I guess I don't want to scale it. Okay, well, we're already rotated, so something like that. Okay, and then I think I'll scale it. I guess not on the x-axis. It would have been... I wonder if I should have not rotated it first. Round out the top and flatten the bottom. Okay, maybe, yeah. Okay, I think that, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I shouldn't do this extrusion until I've gotten the shape of the rock. Okay, so what I need to do... So let's just make it smooth first, and then I can add details. I'm trying to... I keep going back and forth. Yeah, sorry, I'm not the most experienced 3D modeling. Most experienced at 3D modeling. I'm still trying to learn. So I want something like that, and then this one... I want to give a little lip. Something like that, I think. Let me see here. Probably... I think I'm going about this... Okay, so one, I think I have too many edge loops than I need right now. Yeah, because I think I've been getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna undo quite a while until the edge loops... Okay, I guess the undo stack is done. So I can delete them pretty easily. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I have to dissolve edges. Okay, so what I really want to do here... Okay, so... Oh yeah, we're still in edge mode, so let's go back to vertice. Okay, I'll just put these on the ground. And then I'll just add one edge loop here and use that as kind of the... what's the word? Like the lip on the rock. So that's Control R. Huh? How did I make that arc? Oh, I think I pressed Alt R. I don't know what that... Interesting. It made like an arc. I don't know what that command is, but But what I really wanted was Control R to do a loop cut. Okay, and then go back. So I'm gonna try and just get the shape from this side first, and then we'll work on the other sides. And then what else? So it has this like crack there, but I won't worry about that right now. I guess if I want to have this little escarpment, or I don't know what you'd call that, but divot, that wouldn't be that difficult to do. And then on this side, it could just be smooth. But actually, it makes a crack and goes away. So yeah, it would just smooth into the normal edge on that side. But actually, it's probably too... Yeah, it's too low on the ground. I'm not really... Okay, well, I don't need to copy that rock exactly, but I think that there's too much detail at this point. Yeah, I think something like that looks better. But then, yeah, these edges need to be smoothed out, or spaced out. Okay, so maybe one more loop cut, I think, near the top, and that way we can kind of round this part out. Oh, yeah, I kind of wish that this tool would not do additive selection. I don't know if there's a command or setting to do that, because usually when I do it, I want to just select these edges and not like keep the previous selection. Okay, yeah, so I kind of like this shape. So now do I want, how should I guess we should do the profile from the front. Also, one other thing is that each side shouldn't be symmetrical, so I need to keep that in mind. Okay, so I'll just do one of these at a time. Alright, and then this should start moving inward. Something like that. Okay, gotta be careful there. Yeah, this rectangle I don't think is gonna work out. I need to go ahead and divide it into triangles, I think. Yeah, because, well, if I just add a edge right there, that would be fine. And then this whole thing probably do something like that. Does it look like a boulder? This is harder than I thought it would be. It's not rounded enough, is it? Okay, this is kind of messy. Let's see here. I'm gonna undo a bunch. Oh, I did the wrong thing again. Alt R must like create a circle. Kind of useful, but I don't know. I wouldn't use it for this project, obviously. Oh, okay, I don't want to get this side. There we go. Okay, so this is looking really weird now. Maybe I should have extruded instead of looping. I think that one's fine, but for here I need to extrude these faces. And then they should be flat on the ground if I can get the right view. Something like that. And obviously this one should be higher. Oh, I don't want faces anymore. Okay, so that looks a little better, I think. I might need to extrude one more time and round it. Okay, I think in general, let's see, I should just add, oops, I did Alt R again. A loop here and scale this outward. Okay. Yeah, so that looks a little better. Oops, I got the wrong face there. So I want to extrude this one out one more time and then scale it inward. Okay, let's move this backwards a little bit just for some different shapes. Okay, and it feels like this shape, like maybe I should have some of these combine into triangles. It's not so bad here, but on the oh, also, yeah, well, that's okay. That kind of comes off the ground, I think. But yeah, this area is getting a bit busy. But I guess I'll leave that until later. Oh yeah, I guess I should save it. Oops, it's on the wrong folder. Okay, that's not right. I thought that would bring me... Okay, I had spaces. Unity, assets, mod assets, models. Okay, I do have a test builder already. Well, no, this isn't a test builder. This is like a actual builder. I'll call it dirt folder. Oh, but I want to make the folder first. Where's the button to make a folder? Here. Alright, well I guess we can view it in Unity just to get an idea of how it's looking. Okay, so first of all, this is fine. We're not going to have any animations, I don't think, but... If I just bring this into the scene, it should just be white. But yeah, it looks... nothing too strange, except obviously right here, there's way too many vertices. So I'll go clean that up. Okay, so I think it's finally starting to come together. Probably should have some edge loops here so that there's not such big faces. But maybe let's do the other side first, and... this back, do I want to have this big... I think it kind of looks good, actually. That big little step right there. Okay, but I don't want all this to be super symmetrical, so I'm going to kind of perturb some of these faces. Okay, let's turn off see-through because I think I'm going to mess something up eventually. Oh, no, that looks weird that it's pointing out in the middle, actually, so... Okay, and that maybe also these shouldn't all be parallel, probably not. But I don't want it to be too weird because I mean rocks kind of do have a pattern. Yeah, and then this area in general is messy, but like I said, I think I'll smooth this out as it goes towards the middle. Okay, so that's starting to look good. So let's smooth out this edge, and I think the best way to do it is again do face extrusions. I don't want it to look exactly the same though, so maybe this one will just go backwards. Yeah, and also I'm trying to train myself not to use those arrows, so... Oops, I pressed the wrong key. So G, and then I want to press X to move it on the X axis. Okay, I think also, let's turn this back on. I don't know the hotkey for that, unfortunately. It'd be useful. Let's move, okay, I'm still in face selection mode. Let's move these all backwards. So this side will be smaller in general. Something like that. And then this... Okay, yeah, I think I'm liking this shape. Okay, so Control R. Last thing I'll do is just have an edge loop here, and I'll select these top ones. Maybe just bring it up a little bit. Something like that. Okay, and then I'll do an edge loop here, but I think I'm gonna leave these pretty much how it is. I just don't want to have such big faces. Okay, this looks a little weird to me, so it needs to smooth out a little more, I think. And in general, I don't think this should be so pointy. Okay, that looks a little strange. Okay, I don't really like this. Okay, I'm pressing Shift Z to just move it on the X and Y planes. I do want to move it up a little bit though. Okay, so I'm kinda happy with this. Let me see. I think I might smooth out this step on this side. Okay, I shouldn't have moved it on Y, I don't think. Okay, maybe it smooths out too quickly. Still something weird about this one. I think it's too high. Alright, okay, and then also, yeah, these faces are big, so I should add a loop cut here. Do I want to move them upwards? I think I'll leave that one alone. So this one's very zigzaggy. I should probably fix that. Okay, I think it's getting there. Okay, let's see how this looks in Unity. Yeah, that's much better. Pretty bouldery. Alright, so before I go any further, let's try and give it just a simple color. Well, I guess I don't really have to do anything for that. Let's just assign it a material. Create material. I'll just call it dirt boulder. And then I'll need to create a game object to house the boulder prefab. And this is pretty big. Let's, if I bring it up next to Egg Dino. Yeah, so it needs to be, oh, Egg Dino's in a weird spot. It needs to be about as big as his foot, maybe. So let's scale it down quite a bit. Okay, when you scale it down, it really has a ton of geometry, so maybe I went a little overboard. Yeah, so maybe I should cut out some of these. Because, yeah, actually, it's going to be quite small. A lesson learned. Okay, I don't want to move it in here. I can move this, though. Okay, so what else? Okay, this is the collider. We don't need any of that stuff. Just the model. And, okay, I need to assign the material to here. And right now it's a standard shader, so I need to give it a toon shader, and let's just give it some brownish color. Okay, it's gonna look weird, I think, just because... Oh, well, there's no smoothing on the model, that's the main thing. So, model... We want to calculate... Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now I need to add this. Well, we don't need to do that yet. Let's just play, and then I'll just insert it into the scene. I actually don't need this extra egg dino. Okay, so this will just be some little thing that decorates the terrain. And, yeah, it's definitely too detailed right now, I think. So let's see, when the egg dino is standing on it. Oh, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's kind of weird that his toe is inside of the boulder, but... Do I like that? Maybe it should be even smaller. I don't know. Or I should just make it so that these decorations are only on the margins so that they don't get in the way of dinosaurs. That might be the way to go. So these areas will stay clear, but then I can have decorations on the margin if I want. I still think it's a little too big though. Something like that. Actually, these are about the right size. Wait, what's this? I've never seen this before. Maybe that's its pivot? No. I don't know what that is. But anyway, so yeah, something like that. And then we'll rotate it on the Y only. I guess I should see what it looks like in game. Okay, well right now it's floating, but it's very plastic. Oh, but that's just because it's a flat color. I need to add like some more color details, but and also it's going to be zoomed out. And now I think about it, I think that the occlusion filter on the camera doesn't really work well. Well, you know, for one, it's not toon shader-esque. It's a gradient, so yeah, that's true. That's not going to work at all. The only problem is right now, if I turn off the toon shader, you can't see the borders of the blocks at all. But that's something I really need to work on. Okay, so let's get rid of this. And I guess on the camera, I'll turn off ambient occlusion. Okay, so I think these boulders, yeah, definitely can work. But I think there's a couple things to keep in mind, especially for this boulder. If I did like a blade of grass, or actually it'd be more like a tree. That's the thing is, the scale of this game makes it a bit hard to visualize how these things should work. But it's supposed to be like Godzilla, so I want them to be large rocks for sure. Something like this size. Let's see. How does it look? I mean, it doesn't really look that bad. What about in game? Okay, he's just kind of stepping on it. So maybe it's not so... I just need to keep him a certain size. Now for a grass tile, if I wanted to have a large tree, then that would need to stay in the margin. And then maybe if a monster moves across, we could play, I don't know, a fall down animation for the tree. That might be kind of cool, actually. Oh, yeah, I'm just looking at the weird shadow for the tail. Shadows have been kind of a pain. Like, they still look weird here. I think I need to research more about them because I don't think they have to be such an issue, but they have been. And see, without the occlusion shader, it's impossible pretty much to see where the hills are unless you get the rim lighting. So that's definitely something I need to work on. Also, Speculator is way too strong on the boulder, isn't it? Okay, so now I know the boulder's got to be much smaller, at least how I'm envisioning it. So I don't need as much detail. So I think I'll delete some of these edge loops. Okay, I want to keep this escarpment, but maybe I won't have the lip because that's not even going to be really visible. And then I think here I'll need to, yeah, when I clean this up, these edges will dissolve into one edge that'll just go around. Let's make sure that this doesn't look too bad. And let's bring back Egg Dino for scale. Yeah, and then this is way too big, but It needs to be small enough so that it wouldn't look too strange if Egg Dino was stepping on it, I think. And then of course it's hard to see. I need to figure out a way that I can set those global shader properties in editor. Yeah, so it's still fine. I probably still have, well, I do have too much detail still because I need to get rid of all these extra triangles there. And it'll look a lot better, I think, when I get actual textures. Okay, so let's clean this up. What I need to do, I guess I want all the triangles to merge. Well, these three should merge right here to this edge. Okay, so I want to be in edge selection mode, and I'll delete all the extra ones. Or dissolve them. Okay, and then here, yeah, these are extra. So I just need to do a knife cut, probably like that. Is that it? I thought that there was another edge somewhere, but this is a rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This one needs to go down like that. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Did that work right? Okay, I just want to make sure that this is all one vertice. Okay, because I wasn't sure if this knife cut did it correctly or not. Oh, and this knife cut didn't take for some reason. Okay, so let's try this in Unity, make sure there's nothing super weird. Yeah, it looks fine. I guess, is this edge really needed? Probably, because otherwise this would be a huge face. And I don't really need to worry about optimizing it too much, so I think this will be fine. There's a bit, probably more detail here than needed, but I don't really know how I could... I guess I could just delete this whole loop. Let me look. I mean, it doesn't look as good here, but I think it actually won't be any different in Unity, really. At the scales that it's going to be visible. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so now let's do some texturing, and I'm gonna just do what's called, or what people have named lazy unwrapping, where we just use a gradient. And we might add back in some detail now I think about it. I guess I'll have to see how it looks. Oh, I don't want to update right now, Apple. Okay, so how I do this, we'll just have one gradient. So document properties. I guess 256. Yeah, graphics cards like textures to be a power of 2, so I'm going with 256 there. And just so we match exactly, I'll type in the corners, or the width and height, and then the position. Oh, try to press 0. Okay. So I want to turn off the stroke and just use a gradient. Oh, when I turned off the stroke, that messed up the positioning, didn't it? Also, the width and the height, because I think that they're in... Oh no, that's still fine. That didn't take the stroke into account, just the position. Okay, so gradient tool. Just for my sake, I'd like it to be vertically oriented. Okay, so how this works is I want this to be a dark color. Probably should use brown. Something like that. And then this one. Okay, let's copy that color and then I'll just pick a lighter. Okay, that's too saturated, but... And then the highlights should also be yellowish. And the lowlights should be cooler. Maybe even go a little more crazy. I don't know, that's a little too much. I don't know. Maybe, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, so I'll save this as, oh, yeah, wrong folder. Huh? Oh, did it create this when I tried to make it earlier? I'll just delete it now. Okay, so the real one actually has spaces in it, obviously. Okay, so mod assets, and I'll just put this into the, not test folder, the dirt boulder. Folder, and then I'll just call this, UV gradient. Okay, and then to get it on the model, I need to open up a UV view. Oh, here it is, this one. I can find the UV. Oh, there it is. Okay, and then I think I can... Oh, well, I didn't actually export a PNG. Unfortunately, Blender doesn't work with SVG files. So I'll need to export a PNG, pick the page, and I'll just call this, I'll just say UV gradients again, but it will be PNG, obviously. And that's also the wrong folder. Mod assets, models, dirt boulder. Okay, there we go. And export. And now it should show up here for Blender. Although now I probably need to refresh it. There we go. Okay, so if I set this to texture, oh, it's just white. Maybe, is it not applying this to it yet? Oh, maybe I need to unwrap. So I'll select all. I'll just do a lazy unwrap from the front. And then you can type or press U to bring up the unwrapping menu, and I'll just do a project from view. And that shows up in here. And really all I want to do, I mean the size there doesn't matter, but I want to scale it so that the top of the rock is in the bright part and then the bottom of the rock is in the dark part. But, okay, so obviously something, I forgot a step here. Is it this? Okay, so I should pin it and then open UV gradients. Okay, there we go. I just need to open it once we'd unwrapped. Okay, and so this already looks pretty good, but we can add some detail. Okay, so one thing I think I want to do is this little loop. Okay, actually, let me see. Okay, so right here should be brighter, I think, because it's facing up. So I need to switch to face selection mode. I'll just select, okay, not that one though. And then I'll just move them up here by pressing G and, okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know if there's anything else I want to do. I don't have that much to work with because I simplified the geometry. I could maybe make these faces darker just to give some interest. Or probably these, like this ring right here, should be darker too. Okay, so G and then move it on the y-axis. No, that doesn't look good, does it? It's too wide. Let's just do these faces then. Okay, and actually what I'll do here is click there and then I'll scale. Oh, I need to set the anchor. I forget, what's the button for that? I want to set it to the cursor. I forget the keybind. I should look it up though. Okay, that's pretty good. And I don't think there's much more I can do here just because I simplified the mesh so much. If I wanted to, I could add another loop and darken another ring. Let's actually see how it looks in Unity. Okay, and this, it doesn't use the material because we don't import the material directly from Blender. All I need to do is open, or here, I'll just drag this in. Okay, now it's dark. Oh yeah, because I need to change this color back to white. And probably bring down the specular size, and I guess the strength, because I mean this is like, specular highlights tend to grab your attention, and this is supposed to be just like an ambient thing, so I don't want the specular to be too strong. And I guess it is rock too, and rock, well, rock's pretty shiny, and I guess it depends what kind of boulder you're looking at. Okay, let's... I think it looks pretty good, but I'm not sure if it looks that much like a boulder. It's too smooth. Okay, the first thing, maybe if we turn off specular highlights. I think that does a lot. But I mean, I guess you're not going to be like staring at it, but I think maybe I should add like a darker area here on the front to kind of break up this large smooth area and it look more like a crack. Okay, so I guess we'll add a bit more geometry in here. Okay, so shift, control R. You know what, I could delete these edges here. Well, there's not that many on the bottom, but they're not really needed. Okay, so this is good. Let's switch to vertex mode, and I'll select these and just bring them forward. We can, yeah, break up the smoothness a little bit there. Okay, and then this, let's bring that back just to, this edge should probably, it's too bent. Need to be straightened out. I guess, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. But I think we'll get some weird artifacts if I don't smooth this slightly. It's not as important here, I don't think. These edges these vertices are always kind of a pain. I might want to just take a knife and cut the triangle like that. That's a good idea, actually, and so that way Unity won't decide to cut the triangle like this, and that will look really weird. If I do it... Well, it's hard to see in Blender because the lighting is smoother, but we can see there's like a weird divot. And Unity has to convert every quad or rectangle into two triangles, and if you don't do it yourself, then it just picks how it, or some random cut. So usually it's better if you can do it, or it's better to do it yourself in areas that could have an issue. But of course in Blender you want to keep everything as a quad as long as possible because they're much easier to work with. So it's kind of a trade-off. But anyway, let's darken these faces now. So I'll switch to face mode. Just select this ring. Okay, and this one's already darkened. So do I want to double darken this one or not worry about it? I don't know. I think let's just do that. And then I'll set the cursor here and we'll scale. Doesn't really matter if I scale on the X direction, but okay, I think I went a little overboard. I wish that there was some way you could get the orange tint of selection to not show up because it makes it hard to see what I'm doing. Okay, that's better. Also, maybe these faces should be darkened a little bit, just to kind of have a bigger edge there. Okay, now that looks better, I think. I mean, again, nobody's really going to be staring at it. Okay, I think this little ring is too dark now, but... specifically just here. Yeah, I think that'll be better. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is just delete some of these extra edges on the bottom that aren't going to be visible. Okay, so let's switch to edge mode. Okay, these, yeah, it comes up a bit there, so I'll leave that. I don't know, do I need to worry about this? We could technically save some triangles, so... Okay, I think I could get rid of these as well. Okay, so that is... I don't know really how much it's going to save, because it's still going to need to turn that face into a bunch of triangles, but... Instead of me doing it, Unity will just do it automatically. Okay, it's not going to show me the triangles. It's hard to see with the grid. Okay, so I'll just check it out one more time before I move on to trying to spawn these things in the game engine. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There's still... Like, I don't know, for some reason this little area bothers me, but... Well, now that I think about it, this area, wouldn't it be brighter instead of darker? Maybe that's the issue, because it's kind of flat. Okay, let me see. Switch back to face mode, and I'll just select these, not that one. And I'll just bring them up. Okay, this one is a bit crazy. I need to find the right balance. Like, it's hard to tell because it keeps changing into orange. I think that's good. This one maybe too dark or too bright. And this one's too bright, I think. Oh, what's going on? All right, there we go. Let's try it one more time. Okay, I think that's better. I think I should... I don't know, there's still something a little weird about it. Maybe, is it too wide? Or maybe I need to make this little ridge more pronounced. I don't know, I could probably spend forever on it, really. So let's alt... Oh, yeah, I need to switch to vertex mode. Okay, and then I want to deselect the vertices down here because I don't want to mess with them. I don't think I want to move that one either. I just want these and take them up a little bit. Hi Fireblade. What are you saving that model for Unity as? It's an object file, I think. Oh no, it's just a blend file. It's Blender's default file. And it should, Unity handles them really well, so I've never had an issue with it. Yeah, Unity can use blend files. I think it... Well, I need to give you a full list, but I know for a fact it uses blend files, object files, and the default Maya files. So you can take your pick out of those. Okay. I should look at it in game actually. Maybe it's... Okay, well, I think it does look better now. I don't know, I think I'm worrying about it too much. Just a pebble. Alright, so I'll apply this prefab. Makes you hate Blender a little less. It always crashes. Oh, that's... Yeah, I don't blame you then. I don't know, I've never had any issues with it, but... To be honest, I did learn 3D modeling on Maya. And I kind of wish I could go back to that, but... Blender's been fine, it's just a pain to have to relearn everything. Okay, so I want to set this to go into the asset bundle. And I think I can get rid of this test boulder. I guess I'll leave it around in case I need it, but I don't want it to be in the asset bundle. Okay, and then while this is building, I'll update the script here. Okay, well it's already called Dirt Boulder. I don't know, maybe I have two things called Dirt Boulder, I'll need to look into that. You don't know everything you're seeing, you're wishing you knew how I colored specific faces. Well, you can select a face. Let me see. And then it'll show up over here on your UV editor, and then you can just, well, I'm using a specific type of, I guess, texturing that people call lazy unwrapping, where you just have a gradient file as your texture map, and then you just move faces around on it. To me, I hate UV unwrapping and texturing in general, so this way is ideal for me, and it has a pretty good style. But then, once you've got this set up, you can select faces and then just move them around as you want. But if you want more info on that, I learned how to do lazy unwrapping from a Twitter user named Minions Art. I'd really, yeah, just look up her stuff. Okay, so the issue that, yeah, this was called Dirt Boulders, so that's why it had two Dirt Boulders in there. So I think... Alright, so let's open up the project files in here, and what I want to check is that the asset bundle got built correctly. I'll go ahead and open up the mod folder so I can move stuff in there. So what you do is you can look in this manifest file, and if it includes all the files that you want down here, then you know it was working. So we have the models, Dirt Boulder, okay. Seems nice you went into Blender to make 3D sprites so you can animate them easier since 3D models are cheap to design. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, 2D art, or sprites actually, are one of the big downsides is they take a lot more work to animate, as I'm sure you know. That's actually how, like, the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong games, Donkey Kong Country, did their art. They were all 3D models and they just turned them into 2D sprites. Okay, so now I'll copy the... Okay, well, actually I don't want to copy, I'll just drag these in here. Okay, so now I think if I start up the game, the dirt boulders should spawn where we used to have those red circles. Alright, Fireblades, thanks for stopping by. I might be at lunch then, but I think I'll come back later today, so maybe I'll see you then. Okay, yeah, so now all of the dirt boulders have spawned. They look good, but it's weird to have them next to this, like, flat, featureless dirt terrain. I need to do something about that. I don't know why the dirt terrain doesn't have this kind of texture as the grass does. Also, things like this where they're on top of each other. I think they also might still be too big. And maybe too much contrast. I do like the coloring, but they kind of, like, obviously the monsters are supposed to be the star, so you don't want to have the terrain be too eye-catching. And right now I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm trying to decide what is the way to go about fixing this. I guess there's two things. Yeah, like I said, the pebbles are too eye-catching. And the dirt is too plain. So we want to kind of have... I need to either make the pebbles match the dirt. Okay, so I think that's one thing. I need to bring down the contrast in these a whole lot. Let me see. Which is kind of a shame because I think this gradient looks really good. But okay, so we'll start with the highlight color because I think that's kind of what I want. And okay, I'll make this more saturated. Something like that. Okay, this is actually pretty low contrast, but I'm used to doing like 2D art, and for sprites, you can pretty much never have too much contrast. So I'm kind of used to that way of thinking. Oh, I don't have any spawned out, and I need to rebuild the asset bundles to get the new texture in the game. So maybe... Oh, well, unfortunately... Okay, actually... Okay, this is in here, so maybe if I just give it this new UV gradient, it will update them all? I don't know. Oh, it did. Okay, that looks better. Maybe it wasn't so much the gradient, but the shadows. So should I have them not cast shadows? Okay, let's again... I'm gonna have to rebuild the asset bundles, I think, to get that to work. But yeah, these little things shouldn't cast shadows. Oh, we actually I don't want blend probes. I don't even know what motion vectors... I don't think it has anything to do with me. Alright, so let's rebuild the asset bundles again. It didn't take as long last time as normal, so I usually try to avoid rebuilding them as much as possible. But well, maybe it's just because I worked on WebGL all last week, and that takes forever to compile. It's so slow. Alright, so let's see if it was the shadows, because I don't really want to have that really dark edge, because it should seem more like a part of the terrain. Oh, well, it's still pretty dark. So it's not the shadows, it's just the lighting. What would I... Okay, well maybe that's not the issue. I think... I don't know. Just trying to... like, it doesn't look right. I don't... Should I just make it like an unlit material? I guess I could try that. What am I looking for this? I guess I can see how this looks. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be the solution. Maybe I'll just need to have a different shader that doesn't have as dark shadows. I don't know. Or maybe the shadow issue is not the problem, it's just that the terrain itself is too plain. Well, it's supposed to be unlit, but it doesn't look unlit to me. Yeah, that's not unlit. Okay. Well, that worked anyway. Oh, I bet I changed the wrong material. Yeah, I did the test boulder. Okay, well this worked fine. So in game... Okay, well that definitely looks better, but I think it's only because it matches the boring terrain. And see, that's not gonna work. Yeah, so I think the root problem is that the terrain is super boring. Let me... It's just difficult to try and think about how I can actually give it more detail. What, like, ideally I'd want... Well, I've kind of been kicking this around in my head that maybe mods should be able to, like, give actual models for the tops of the hexagon, because then we could just model these pebbles into the actual terrain itself. But the thing is, the terrain needs to be like able to blend with anything next to it, because like you can have randomly generated maps or maps. Like, one important thing I want to be able to do is for these blocks to be able to move around based on monster power, so the terrain would need to be able to change on the fly. And so it's hard to think about how to do that and at the same time give mod authors powers to make things look good. Okay, so I think I'm gonna need to think about this. So maybe, I don't know. Okay, well obviously the unlit texture is not the way to go, because, well, we could see that when it was in the shadow of the egg dino, it looked like it was glowing, which is not gonna work. So right now, it just looks like it's sitting on featureless, flat texture. I had an idea that I could like darken the texture towards the edge of the hexagon, but it doesn't change the problem that the actual hexagons themselves look super boring. Okay, so maybe this is gonna... Maybe what we could do is that these hexagons could have a model supplied by the mod author, and then we just generate the margins between them. We would generate like mountains and things. Because like these areas can be flat, I think. It's not quite as important. Because what I'd like to do is like apply the gradient that I did here, like the same type of idea to this dirt terrain, and then we would have like, I don't know, stripes or whatever in it, or swirls that are lighter and darker colors just to give it some interest. And then also, okay, so I was trying to use like a bump map, and you can kind of see it in the grass, like it's not completely flat. But the problem is it's really hard to match up the bump map with the vertices in such a way that it actually creates interesting terrain. Because like right now, or interesting mesh I should say. Well, it's really obvious here. On the stone. Because it's kind of random. Let me see. I still have this checkerboard. I guess I can just show when I used to have this height checkerboard. Even though this is a regular pattern, when we actually put it into the game, it didn't really look much different than it did here because the hexagon vertices don't match up with the height map in a way that you can actually see the pattern. Let me see here. So remember how the stone looked before, and I'll change this to use that checkerboard, so height checkerboard. I'm just going to copy the name so I don't have to type it out. Okay, well, that's fine, I'll remember. Yeah, so if we let mod authors supply like models for the terrain tops, then we'd have to somehow, well, I guess they'd want it to look good, so they'd just follow the rules, but I guess the edges would all have to be flat in order to match the margins. Oh, what did I do? Check consistency. I don't know what that means. Did it not build it correctly? Let's try one more time. Oh, I know what. I forgot to move the asset bundle file over. I'm not sure why it just like threw an error though. Like that. Yeah, I really need to look at the loading code. It's gotten pretty old now. Oh. Okay. Well, Unity just crashed on me. Okay, well, I'll wait and do this later. Let's just reopen it again. Maybe the asset bundle's corrupted? I guess I'll just rebuild it in case. Or maybe I tried to play too quickly after the asset bundle had built and it really wasn't done yet. I don't know. Okay, so let's check out the manifest, I guess. Okay, whatever. Well, everything looks fine. Okay, there we go. So yeah, if you look at the terrain, see, it doesn't actually follow a checkerboard pattern, really. I mean, it can kind of see it, but it mostly just that's a bit more checkerboard than I would have thought, actually. But so maybe this isn't going to illustrate my idea as well as I wanted, but I think, for example, if I wanted to have like sand dunes here, I'd have to somehow craft the height map so it matched up with the hexagons. Okay, well, see, this is like, it's not really a checkerboard, it's more like, well, this doesn't look good in general, but so for example, if you wanted to have a map that had like a checkerboard or a terrain that followed like a checkerboard pattern, it doesn't work. So this would be a lot easier if I had a rectangular grid, but I decided to go with hexagons. Which I think was a right idea because hexagons are more interesting from a game design perspective, but okay. I think I'm gonna need to look or think about how I want to do this, so maybe I'll move on to something else for the rest of the stream. Oh, well, we're actually almost out of time anyway, but I think that the rock, like, I'm pretty happy with the rock that I just did, but it just definitely, okay, well, I gotta do that, but it definitely exposes a weakness of the current art style. Did Unity crash again? Oh no, here it is. It's just... So I guess... I mean, one thing I could do is... I could add texture to the dirt terrain color. That might help, but it wouldn't like make these margins more visible. The reason I was hesitant to do that is because I kind of have a rule, mostly imposed by the lazy UV style, that if you have a change in color on the model, it also is just in the geometry and not in the texture itself. And also, if I had a repeating texture, it'd be hard to specify a gradient. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll just need to think about it. Maybe what I should do is do like a test model of how I want a block of dirt to look, and then I can figure out how to make that work in the engine. I'll just do what I need to do. That's probably the best thing. Because I'm trying to... Are there any games that... I don't know if there's any games off the top of my head that have a 3D map like this besides Civilization. I guess I could see how that looks a little better. But of course, I don't think you can mod in terrain types. Oh yeah, they took away the view image. Okay, there we go. I don't know why I didn't see that. This isn't a very good resolution, but I see it has some geometry. But again, this isn't the same style. It's not cell shaded for one. Like, I think if I was trying to do something more realistic, it would actually be easier. Okay, well their terrain is actually pretty flat. It has some texturing to it, but not a lot of lighting except towards the end when it dips into the ocean. But like right here where the two grass tiles meet, it's not like there's a border really. I mean, there's kind of a dip, but... And then these just blend together based on the color. Yeah, I kind of like, I've always liked the way the dunes look. This is something I was hoping to do. Like, I wonder if this is actually 3D modeled or if this is just a normal map. Could just be a normal map. I kind of have thought about trying to do a normal map on my terrain, although I'm hesitant because none of the rest of the game uses a normal map. So it would be going against the style. But I guess if the terrain doesn't look good in the current style, maybe that's the problem and I just need to change the whole style of the game. Or maybe I just need to not be so hard-headed about having the terrain have the same style as the characters. Okay, well... I think that what I need to do is... Yeah, I need to make like a terrain prototype. That's what we'll do tomorrow. About how I want the dirt to look. And then from there I'll figure out what I need to do to get the terrain generator to look like that as well. Yeah, so I'll just make another scene, in fact. Save as... Let's just call it terrain art prototype. And I'm going to copy the camera and light from the play scene just so that they have the same parameters. Oops. And then I'll bring in Egg Dino. Oh, I need to also do the... Oops, that's not what I wanted to click on. The shader setup. I think I'm just going to delete this because I keep on accidentally getting the dirt boulder out of that and we don't need it. I don't know why it took so long to delete that. Okay, so if I play this... Okay, there's some errors. Object reference. On the anchor? Oh, this camera positioner. Yeah, I can delete that. Okay, yeah, so everything did load fine. Okay, so I got this model, a dirt block. And yeah, let's see how that looks. I just need to nail down exactly how I want it to look, I think. I kind of have an image in my head, but I've been having a hard time, again, like, trying to get it to match the art style and make it so it's actually possible to generate the terrain. But I think I should work backwards from the art style just because That's really what the train is about, is trying to look nice. So, but anyway, I think I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'll probably be back on later today. I think I have I think I know what I'm gonna work on today, and it's something that can be streamed. So keep a lookout for that. Feel free to follow me here on Twitch, or I'll also post on Twitter when I go live. But if nothing else, I'll be live tomorrow at noon Eastern to continue working on Tactical Lizard Tamer. I also have a YouTube channel where I post all streams if you'd like to catch up, and a Discord server and where you can chat with me throughout the day, and we'd love to have you there. I'll put links in chat, or you can check out the video description. But yeah, I think that's it for me today. Definitely going to be thinking about how I want to handle this terrain, and I guess if anybody has any insight or suggestions, I'd definitely be open to it. But yeah, I hope to see all you guys soon, and have a great day. Bye bye.